we're still in the calibration stage. We haven't started running ads yet. And before we do that, it's really important that we dial in all of the different settings. And a big part of that is telling Facebook what audiences that we want to target. We're going to do that by setting up target audiences or different audience types that best reflect who our ideal customer is. So in this session, we're going to go over what are the different audience types within Facebook, and then some advice on when and where to use each based on what your offer is, based on how long you've been running ads, that sort of thing. To start out, we always want to go inside of our Facebook Business Manager, navigate to our menu, find the Assets column, and then select Audiences. And if you've already run Facebook ads, here's where all of your audiences will be listed. If you're brand new to Facebook ads, this is where you're going to create your different audiences. And you'll do so by clicking the Create Audience button. And notice that there are 3 different options here: custom audiences, lookalike audiences, and saved audiences. And so we're going to go through each one of these and what they all mean and when to use each. However, the way that I want everyone in this course to think about audiences is in 2 different buckets: cold traffic and warm traffic. Everybody should have a cold traffic strategy. So how do I reach people that are brand new, never seen my ad before, never heard of my course before? How do I reach cold traffic? And you should have a warm traffic strategy. Maybe you've been running ads for a little bit, or after you've been running ads for a while. How do I target people that are already familiar with my ad? Maybe they've seen my ad, clicked on it. Maybe they've gone to my website but haven't actually purchased my course. How do I retarget those people so that they'll come back? Or if I've already got a list of people that have purchased my course on Facebook, how do I make Facebook go back and find more people that look very similar to those via lookalike audiences? So those are the different things, or the 2 different ways I want you guys to think about things. For now, for those of you that have never ever run ads on Facebook, or this is brand new to them, we're going to start with cold traffic, and that's where you're going to start. And to do that, you're going to go to saved audiences. And what we're going to do is create an audience from scratch based on telling Facebook what they should look for. What are their likes, dislikes, interests, where do they live, all that type of stuff. So you'll notice we have the audience name, and I like to name it at the end because it's either going to be a cold or warm audience. And I like to name it based on, or include in the audience name some of the elements of what the targeting is that we've selected. So I like to do this last. But notice on the upper right over here, we've got the potential reach. And right now it's targeting everyone that lives in the US at all age ranges. And our potential reach is 220 million. So we don't want to send ads to 220 million people, or have that be the entire pool of people that we reach. We want to get this down to a manageable test campaign size, or test audience size. And for me, I always recommend somewhere between 500,000 and 3 million is a good range for us to try things out. So our job right now as we create this audience is to get this down to 500,000 to 3 million, and to get it as close as possible to our target customer. I can do that by changing location. I can do that by changing age. But in this detailed targeting section, this is where the magic really happens. I can tell Facebook to include or exclude people based on their age, demographic, interests, behaviors, jobs they have. If you hit the browse button here, you'll notice all of the different things you could segment by. Things like education level, whether they're parents or not, different interests across all of these different industries, even their behaviors. How often do they use Facebook? Where are they using Facebook? What mobile devices do they use to access Facebook? So we can get very, very granular and very, very targeted. Facebook's ability to capture customer data is immense. So let's use that and to our advantage, and let's make sure that we dial this in as much as we can. So I think the best way to go about demonstrating this or showing you this is to actually do a sample course, or do an audience for a sample course. So why don't we do one together right now, and you guys will get an idea of some of the best practices of how to start how to start thinking about creating your own cold audience strategy. So let's say that I am a course creator and I created a course for computer programmers or software programmers or web developers that want to learn a programming language for blockchain. So I'm big into the blockchain space. One of the big needs in that space is for programmers to use a brand new programming language called Solidity, and you use Solidity to create smart contracts. So I created a course that teaches programmers how to program smart contracts in Solidity. My target customer are people that are already programmers that are interested in blockchain or smart contracts or Solidity, and want to create a side income or a passive income or do something on the side by programming smart contracts. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to start segmenting by programming. Computer programming, there we go. So let me select that as an interest. Notice immediately we went from 220 million to 8.5 million. So we're on the right track there. I can browse all of these suggestions and start adding things that fit there. But what I'm going to do, remember, I want the cross section of people that are just not just programmers, but programmers and interested in blockchain. So I'm going to click this narrow audience section, and notice what happens. I'm telling Facebook it has to include people that match at least one of the following, and I'm going to build out this grouping here. But it also must match at least one of the following in this group that I'm going to create. And you'll notice here in this kind of Venn diagram here, I've got the current audience and new criteria. I'm trying to find just this small segment that meet both of those. That's what I'm doing here. So let me start with like blockchain or smart contract information. There we go, smart contracts. So now let me build out each of these. So you'll notice that we only have a potential reach of 2,000 people. That's way too small. So I want to go back and broaden this by adding some interests, job titles, suggestions for each of these buckets. So software developer, yeah, that fits. Programmer, that fits. Software programmer, that fits. Web programmer fits. Software development engineer fits. Programming languages, Java developer, C++, which is the programming language, Java programmer, another programming language. Python's a great programming language. So you can see I just added a bunch of things on here. So let me see what that did to our audience. So now we're back up to 3,600 people. So we probably need to, smart contract is probably a little too restrictive. So I need to add a lot more to this. So how about blockchain? There we go. Now we're back up to 2,000 or 210,000 people. So I need to keep adding a bunch of things here. So cryptocurrency, yes, that fits. Digital currency fits. Bitcoin, let's try Bitcoin. Let's see how that affects things. Virtual currency. Ethereum is a great one because I think smart contracts are programmed on the Ethereum blockchain. Coinbase is great because if they follow Coinbase, chances are they're interested in crypto or blockchain. And then, entrepreneur or passive income. I might want to create a third bucket here to target that. So now you can see I've got two different buckets, and they just have to match one here and one here. And let's see what that looks like. 1.8 million. Okay, now we're talking. Now we're in that territory where we can create a good target audience off of this. So I can stop here and just save that audience, or I can go back in and add one more bucket. Because remember, I want them to create like a side income off of this. So maybe like they want to be a freelancer. There we go, interest. Now I go to suggestions, self-employment. Yep, maybe they want to ditch their job and just do this full-time on their own as a freelancer or self-employment. Entrepreneurship's a good one. Business owner, maybe not. Home business, probably too broad. Self-employed, they're not self-employed quite yet. Business opportunity may be too broad. I'm going to stop, you know what, maybe passive income. I'm going to stop right there and see what I did here. Yeah, now I'm at 1.5. That's a really nice sweet spot to create a test campaign off of this. And remember, now I've really dialed in the targeting. So they have to be interested in or a computer programmer by profession and have a stated interest in blockchain or cryptocurrency and digital and want to create a side income, freelancer, self-employment, passive income, those sort of things. So now I'm telling Facebook to only target those 1.5 million people in the US that match all of these things. So I can create a really great test campaign off of this. So I want to name my campaign or name my audience now that I've created it. And the way I like to do it is like this. Is it cold audience or is it a warm audience? In this case, it's cold, US targeting, and it's an interest campaign. And then what specifically did I put in the interest targeting, or what are the buckets? So the buckets are programming and blockchain and side income. Why do I do it like this? Because at a quick glance, if I'm creating multiple different audiences, multiple cold audiences based on interest targeting, I want to be able to know what these are at a quick glance. I want to be able to see my cold audiences that I've created and my warm audiences that I've created. If I duplicated this and just did this in Canada, I want to see which one is US and which one is Canada, in which case I would change this. Maybe I wanted to create one with this side income bucket and one without the side income bucket. And I can do that, but I have to have my naming convention correct. So that's the way that I do all of this. So take your time, build out your cold interest audiences just the way that I did. But bottom line here is you want to get this between 500,000 and 3 million people before you start running ads, as a rule of thumb. Hit create audience, and then that creates your audience for you. Notice that we've already got one up here. Here's our cold US 18 to 55, and a little bit about some of the different things that we've sort of targeted or included there. That's your cold audience. For warm audiences, we want to go back to create audience and go to custom audience. Custom audience allows us to do a lot of cool things. And because we've set up Facebook Pixel already, and I hope you guys have already done that, otherwise you're not going to be able to use these options. But if you've done that already, you can create warm traffic audiences for people that have already visited your site, already purchased your course, or look very similar to people that have purchased your course. The two that I want to call out here that I recommend you start out with is website traffic and customer file. So let's start with customer file. And for this, I'm speaking specifically to those folks that have already gotten a ton of course sales and now you want to expand that with Facebook, or maybe you've already been running Facebook ads for a while and you're using course clients in this Rainmaker program to drive more sales. If you've already got a customer file, that is the first place that I want you to start with your audience targeting. And by clicking on customer file, you can actually upload a list of emails or a list of customers, or maybe it's a newsletter list or newsletter feed. Upload that here. Select the origin, which is directly from customers, so you didn't buy this list or purchase this list or use it from a third party. And then name your audience. And in this case, is it cold or warm? It's warm. And then name what it is. Maybe it's a newsletter list. And then save. Or maybe it's warm, existing customers. And then hit save. You may be asking me, Frank, why would I want to create an audience for people that have already purchased the same course that I'm trying to sell to other people? The reason you want to do that is because you will be able to create something called a lookalike audience. And I'm going to get to that later. But you want to create a lookalike audience. Tell Facebook, hey, find people that look very similar to people that purchased my purchased my course, and that will become our cold targeting strategy. So if you've already got this, to recap, if you've already got an existing customer lead list or email list, upload that here. That is like gold to Facebook, and there's a lot of cool stuff that we can do for that. You'll notice that we use that already. We're not actually running ads against it, but for people that have already signed up for our program or our course, we're using that to create cold traffic off of. Other thing that I wanted to talk about in custom audience is website traffic. Let's say you've been running ads for a while, or your site has been running for a while. You've probably got quite a bit of website traffic already out there. And because you've already put the Facebook pixel there, Facebook can tell how many people have actually seen what specific pages. And so one thing that I like to do for a warm targeting strategy is to set up what's called a retargeting campaign. Retargeting means they've been to your ad but haven't actually purchased. So I want to target those people again and again and again with maybe a different message to get them to come and make an application or fill out a consultation sheet, purchase my course, whatever it is. So what I can do is target all Facebook visitors. I can open this up to 7 days, 180 days, whatever it is. You can also target people that have just seen specific web pages. And so that's a great way to start. So I want to target people that have seen one page, but not actually seen the confirmation page. The way I do that is similar to what we did on the custom audiences, is we want to not only paste a website URL here, we also want to hit this exclude button and exclude people that have not or have seen another site that I give them here. So let's again use an example. Let's use course clients as an example. One part of our funnel is we want to target people that have been to this application page but have not actually made an appointment. So they have not seen this page yet. So what I want to do is grab this URL, go to Facebook and say, hey, Facebook, start targeting people that have seen this page, but exclude people that have seen this page. There it is. So what am I telling Facebook to do? Facebook, people have gone and clicked my ad and gotten this far in the funnel, but they haven't gotten this far. Find all of those people, and I want to show them a very specific ad or message saying, hey, hurry up and come back and book your free consultation today. You're one step away. I can target just those people as a warm targeting strategy. For this, again, is it warm or cold? In this case, it's warm. And I would name it how about application page, no appointment. And hit create audience. Now I'm creating just that audience as part of my warm traffic strategy. That's a great way to start if you've already been using your website for a while or already been running Facebook ads. Notice that we've got a warm targeting strategy for people that have downloaded the playbook but have not actually created an application yet. Last but not least, the third thing that I want to show you guys is something called a lookalike audience. Lookalike audience is for those people that have already been running ads or have, like I mentioned, have like that email list. A powerful, powerful way to leverage Facebook is to use something called a lookalike audience. And a lookalike audience, you're telling Facebook to find other people that have similar values, similar interests, similar traits to your most valuable customers. In this case, you would select a source. So what do you want Facebook to use as their source of truth? In which case, that's why you would have an existing customer list. Even if you don't send ads to your existing customers, you want to use this existing customer list to create a lookalike audience. Then select the location. I can use United States, California, all locations. And then you have to make a decision on your audience size. What does that mean? That means how closely correlated do you want these new cold customers to be? Or how close do you want it to resemble your existing customers on a scale of 1% to 10%? 1% being they look the most like your existing customers. As you open this up to kind of 5%, 7%, 10%, they don't look as much like your existing customers, but it's a larger audience size. So you may be asking, all right, well, what do I put here? That depends on how large this existing audience is. Good rule of thumb or a good benchmark is around 1,000. So if you have 1,000 people in your existing customer list or your newsletter sign up list, go for like 1% or 1 or 2%. Experiment in that range. If it's less than 1,000 people, you want to be kind of toward this higher range because you don't have enough of a sample set to go out and for Facebook to go out and tell who is who or who most closely resembles. So again, if it's like 1,000 people or more, you could be at this 1% and then get the closest traffic that you can, or the highest converting traffic as you can. If it's, you only have a few hundred, you want to be closer to this 9 or 10% range. And then hit create audience. And again, this is going to be a great cold traffic strategy, is to make that cold traffic resemble your existing customers. Notice that we've got one on here that's a lookalike, 1% in the US, and our source of truth was the existing customer list. So that's what I named that particular audience. So there you go, guys. There's a ton of different options when it comes to creating your target audience, and that's going to depend on your course, your level of sophistication, and how much data you have to feed within to Facebook. So my advice to you guys, to recap, is go out and create at least a cold targeting strategy or a cold traffic strategy consisting of at least 1 or 2 of these custom audiences based on interests. If you have the ability to also create a lookalike audience as cold traffic, do that as well. And then last but not least, if you have an existing customer list or a newsletter, or can create a warm audience strategy based off of web traffic, I would recommend creating that audience as well. In the next couple modules, what we're going to do is create campaigns, ad sets, and ads that will show the right message to the right person at the right time, depending on if they're cold, warm, wherever they are within the funnel. Hopefully that was valuable for you guys. Go out, do your homework, and I'll see you in the next module.